streaming again. And then I'll delete that other stream because nobody's seen it, even though we're live streaming. I'm sure nobody popped in to watch it. Otherwise, the comment in the phrase will, you guys fucking morons. Oh, wait, we're recording again. Sorry. Hi.
Hello and welcome. We are the Cult of Brighter Days, and
Uh,
this is the good news.
that was much better than last time.
Thank
It
you.
was a good thing
I
we
take
did it. Plus, they could actually hear you. So my comments made sense this time.
Oh, good.
So you are.
I am Richard the 50th, Regional Step Pope of Northeast Wyoming.
And I am Michael, prefect of the overwhelming. God, I screwed it up again. You know, maybe I should pick a shorter title.
Maybe.
Um,
And
Overwhelming acceptance of vermicelitude. Yeah, I preached the truth about that.
the truth, yes.
Yeah, you know this stream's not going to have me speaking in tongues like I did last one.
Yes,
That
it's a sad day.
that is a sad thing because that was pretty witty, and it was pretty interesting speaking in tongues like that.
Yes, well, can't have everything.
So we are here as a Discordian cult designed to think positively about everything we possibly can. Um, and I'm sure we'll put out videos that explain more about why we're just here babbling. And possibly we might actually have some real philosophical bent to what we do and what we do. But we have a tendency to not do anything. So we're live streaming because it forces us to actually do something. So
Yes.
so what are we doing in our live stream to at this moment to make it worthwhile for us to exist on YouTube?
Today we are looking for good news in the legal world.
And
And
ha-
I apologize. I have four cats and they all shed. And somehow all the hair gets in my nose and just distracts me like nobody's business.
do you know the reason for that is because one of the errors is one of our mystical numbers that we focus on is the number 5, and so you have 4 cats, and if you had 5 cats, you know, I don't know what would happen, but it'd be significant, at least in the sense of, the cult.
Oh, okay. Does it count if I have five pets?
Oh, that could. Oh, that would work because you have 4 cats for your 4 fingers and a bird for your thumb.
There we go.
You could
I
always
was also
find.
born on the 23rd, which adds up to five.
Whoa. Okay, let's don't blow everybody's mind too soon. This stuff. The reason 5 is such a number is because you can always find a rational excuse to use the number 5 to justify something.
Okay.
Well, you have 5 fingers,
I will make note of that.
and everything's divisible by 5 on some level. Even if you have to
Okay.
divide it like 3 or 4 times, you still can get down to a 5 somehow, or a
Okay.
point 5
Very
or
good.
something. Good to know, right? There, that's my sermon today about the religion. Now let's go on to the good news. That was
The
my
good
religious.
news.
Yeah.
Uh, so today we're finding good news in the world of legalities, specifically the Georgia world of legalities. There's a grand jury that recently released their report on their investigation into election fraud in 2020, and what they've said is that witnesses may have lied in their investigations into the Trump 2020 election or
No,
lack thereof.
no, these witnesses were not named at this point in time. See, but
That's
they
true.
but they lied under oath on the stand.
There is a limited number of people that we know testified. Donald Trump was not among them, but
Nope.
some of his underlings were. Lindsey
Bannon
Graham was
was.
there.
Bannon, Lindsey
Bannon
Graham.
was. I think Rudy Giuliani made it.
Yep, yep. They didn't want to make it, but they were told they had to make it.
Yes, they
One of us.
try hard not to.
Oh, they tried really, really hard not to. I don't know why, but they tried really, really. I have a good idea why, but I'm not really 100%. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what else came about from this?
Well, the grand jury recommended they aren't able to indict, but they did recommend that charges be filed in their probe. We did get to hear the recording that the Secretary of State Raffensperger made when Trump called, asking him to find uh, just a little under 12,000 votes so that he could win.
Now, did they release the entire call?
I think they did. I think that whole call was released. I've only ever heard snippets of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never heard the whole thing too. So, um, give me give me 1 second here. Continue to talk.
So the good news here is A, that the grand jury did recommend indictments, and B, they recognized that the testimony that they were getting was not true. The grand jury heard testimony, recognized that it wasn't truthful testimony, and so they recognized that. I believe they also recommended charges for perjury
Yes,
in this recommendation as well.
which was pretty unique, if I understand correctly.
I can't think of any other examples of that. No.
Where they were the well, usually when you have a grand jury, the grand jury you only have to do it once, but since it's a federal one, what happens is they convene the special grand jury, which then collates a report, which is then sent to the actual grand jury, who actually can do the indictment. And so it's a little bit different than a lot of grand juries and how it works. So I'm not sure if it was because it was a federal grand jury or the situation.
It's not a federal grand jury. It's a state of Georgia grand jury.
Is that how maybe it's how the state of Georgia works with grand juries?
That's possible. I'm not a lawyer. I would
But
hesitate to.
but do you play one on TV? Have you ever played a lawyer?
I have never played a lawyer.
Huh.
I've played a British soldier. I've played farmer and dad.
Yeah, I remember
I've
that one.
played a Russian spy. I've played a stage manager.
Uh,
I played a sheriff.
didn't you play a author in Mousetrap? Who was
Oh,
was that?
that was a detective.
Played the detective. Okay.
Mousetrap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I played someone who works for Iberia Airlines. I don't think I
What
ever heard what their job was, but they worked for Iberia Airlines.
what was that in?
That was the female version of the Odd Couple.
My goodness gracious.
I at different in different productions played both Manolo and Jesus.
Wow. Wow. And I remember that one time that we were going to do Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, but we never got around to doing it. That would have been good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that would have been good. Well, this is just a good example of, as Discordians, how we wander from the main topic of us talking about in the first place, and we don't feel guilty about it. This is perfectly rational. It's also, part of the ADHD component of my life. So,
Yes.
yes.
I've never been diagnosed myself, but I do have a tendency to ramble.
Yes, yes. You have ADHD moments, probably. That's probably the best way to
I
describe it, right?
definitely have ADHD moments.
We all have ADHD moments, but we're not here to talk about ADHD. We're here to talk about the good news. And so, what actually is the good news that has come from this?
The good news is that there are most likely indictments on the way.
Well,
Um,
that's
we
not good
we don't
news for
know.
some people.
It's good news for the majority of people,
Well, we try to be
whether they
not
recognize it
partisan.
or not.
Well, we try to not be partisan here, right? So, like, is there some good news for these people who are being indicted? Or,
It might not be the ringleader. It could just be the little fish.
well, I was thinking my idea on this good news is that since they didn't release their names, they have a chance of maybe changing their story and telling the truth. They're getting that second opportunity. They're
Very
getting
good.
the opportunity to help out in this case. Now, of course, we're being, across the board. We don't know if anybody's guilty in this case or not. We're not here to judge people, right?
True.
That's what the
Also,
court systems are
our
there for.
tradition is also that everybody is innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law, and that hasn't happened yet. So we are to
Exactly.
assume that everybody is not guilty.
Exactly. So now, of course, I mean, on a personal level, I think they should fry, but that's just me on a personal level. That's not speaking for the cult. From the cult's aspect, but it is good that if that their names were not released, so they still have a chance of their names eventually will be released, but they could redeem themselves before that. So they had 75
Yes,
witnesses. So out of the 75 witnesses, some of them lied. Could only be one. Could be 75 of them, but who knows?
probably between there.
Yeah, between 1 and 75, I would suspect, is where it's going to land. So what other good news can we glean from this
Oh,
that would make everybody feel good? Well, due process still works.
due process works.
Due process has not been totally
The
mitigated,
system, the system is in place and working as designed.
right?
That's good news.
Right? That's good news. The good news is we're a little bit closer to at least having a trial or something like that because this is taking forever. All this stuff
This
is
is taken,
taking
and we
forever.
are closer to some kind of resolution.
I wouldn't go that far a resolution, but I mean we're at least closer to the circus that will be the trial, which at least becomes entertaining and is much more public.
Yes,
Having all this stuff
yes.
done behind closed doors is valuable, it's useful, it needs to be done. I get that. But at some point, this stuff has to be presented before the American people and the world in large in some way.
Hmm.
That's one of the problems with the news nowadays, with especially when they have like criminal accounts and stuff. They'll be like, "Okay, this happened and this person's going to court," and then you never hear about it ever again, ever until like 3 years later, somebody says this guy got off with this charge, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that did happen." So,
Yeah.
any other good news you can think of? We're coming up on the top of the 15-minute mark that we sort of set for ourselves.
Well, we do have on a different front the classified documents case is progressing as well. That's been
That's
a lot
true.
of frustration for folks, and will continue to be for some time. But we did learn that the special prosecutor, Jack Smith, is asking for uh, testimony from Trump's lawyers, which would suggest that attorney client privilege is not attaching in this case.
Huh.
Now you could see that as bad news, because normally you would want uh, attorneys to be able to talk to their clients and vice versa, so that they can build their most robust defense that they can. But there are very few exceptions to attorney-client privilege that I think is probably uh, good, in that if the attorney and the client are conspiring to commit crimes, then the privilege doesn't attach in that situation.
Well, and in this case specifically, the actual thing of conspiring to commit crimes is fraud. The conspiring to commit fraud tends to be the biggest angle there, and it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal to even think about that and everything. So calling those people up, it doesn't say that's exactly what's happening, but it does, from everything I've seen and read, indicate that that's the direction it's going in.
Yeah, that's the most likely scenario.
Definitely.
I can't think of any other scenarios that would fit the facts, but that
So
just might be my ignorance.
again, this could be good news for the people who were called up before. It gives them a chance to set the record straight if that's the case. If they are innocent, then of course it doesn't really matter in this case. If they aren't innocent, this at least gives them a chance before it goes to trial, where they have some serious problems and are called out in different ways. So, it's
Yes,
good for
yes.
them as well. It's good for everybody.
The truth is generally good for everybody
Well, I wouldn't go that
in
far.
the long run. In the short run, there may be some
In the
problems, but in
short
the
run,
long
yeah,
run,
there's some really, yeah, it can be really awful for people in the short run, but eventually in the long run, well, technically in the long run, it's not going to matter. We're all going to be dead. So the further you
yes.
extrapolate out the situation, the less impact it has.
True, very true.
See,
Once
global
the
warming,
sun starts
yeah,
building.
yeah, global warming could look like it's a serious issue for us right now. But that's because we're looking at it in the short term. We're only looking at it from like a couple millennial. We're not looking at it from the longer effects on the planet.
Yep.
Or
In
even more
billions of
so.
years, it won't matter anymore.
Yeah, and even longer, the effect in the universe. Almost negligible. Why are we worried about this? It's all in how, well, it's all in your mindset and how you focus on it.
That's true. That is true.
Exactly.
On the other hand, I don't live in that.
We're trying to,
Well,
Richard.
once I'm gone,
We're
um,
yeah.
what happens to the rest of the world doesn't matter to me anymore. So,
Well, you like to think that, but that's not necessarily true, is it? Because you don't know. What if you're stuck haunting the house you're living in and then everybody dies and you're left here for thousands of years with nothing and no one
how
else to
about
hang around?
haunting?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Take those
uh,
into account.
good point. Good point.
See, just because it's good news doesn't mean it's the best news. And it doesn't mean it's great news, that's for sure. We always want to make sure and people aware that what we are talking about is good news, not great news, because there is a difference. There is a difference.
Yes.
Now, at this point, I
Yes.
think have we got the sponsorship for the steroid pills that we pitch at this point?
No.
Have we gotten any
No.
sponsorships for anything at this point?
No. We have
Okay.
not.
I highly doubt we ever will. But it's worth thinking about. Keep it in mind. Make it, visualize it, make it reality. We can do this.
I could plug my consulting business.
Yeah, you could.
I could.
You gonna pay me
Um,
money to plug your consulting business?
no.
Oh well, No way you can plug your consulting business. Oh, look at that. We've run over time. We're 5 minutes over. We need to, like, really seriously rope ourselves in. But that's not too bad. We've done a second one. And tomorrow we'll
We've
try to
done
do a third one. And tomorrow we'll try to do a third one at least.
I've found our theme song too.
Did you? Is it going to get us copyright blocked?
Probably.
What is our theme song? Because we have a theme song we want to use, but I haven't talked to the people yet.
Oh, that's not a theme song.
It's even better.
What's your theme song you have for us here as we try to outro here?
Voices of Babylon.
Oh, I like that one. And nobody knows it, and nobody listens to the outfield anymore. Maybe we could license that one. All right, we're at 15 seconds now. Gotta time it. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Talk us out, Mr. Richard.
Thank you for joining us for the good news. We'll be back again tomorrow to talk about more good news. I'm Richard the 50th.
I'm Michael the something or other. Good night.
And good night.
Okay, we're off the air. Woohoo!